When Rowan opened my purse, her smile collapsed so fast it looked like her face forgot how to hold itself together. She'd walked into my living room with the confidence of a newly married woman who believed the world would bend for her. Owen hovered in my doorway, arms crossed, foot tapping like he'd already spent money he hadn't even seen. Rowan didn't look back at him. She lifted the small leather flap, saw the cream envelope inside, and went quiet. Sharp quiet, like glass cracking. "Mom," she whispered, voice thinning. "What is this?" Her fingers hovered above the envelope as if it might burn. I didn't answer. I didn't soften it with explanations. I let the moment grow heavy, heavy enough that even Owen's foot stopped. Rowan swallowed. Is this about the wedding?" The word hit the air like a slap. I felt it along the back of my neck the way you feel cold wind slip under your clothes. She waited for reassurance, for me to do what I always did, fix it, smooth it, pay for it. Instead, I pulled out the chair across from her and sat down slowly, steadying myself with the edge of the table. My hip still ached when I moved, a bruise blooming under the skin like an accusation. 2 days earlier, I'd been gripping something very different, the hand of a stranger, while she tried to help me stand after my body folded on a floor slick with spilled champagne. Rowan finally touched the envelope but didn't open it. She pinched the corner like someone picking up a letter they already know will hurt. Before she could speak again, I exhaled and let my voice settle into the calm I'd practiced in the mirror, in the car, in the quiet hours when anger tried to turn into grief. "Sit down, Rowan," I said. "There are things you need to understand." Her breath hitched. Owen stayed in the doorway, pretending he wasn't listening, but his posture shifted, attention sharpening. He'd come for money. He didn't like surprises. Rowan lowered herself into the chair like it weighed 100 pounds. As she did, the memory rose up, clear as daylight. Charleston had been loud in a way that pressed against my ribs. The reception swarmed with heels, laughter, bright dresses, and polished teeth. Rowan chose a venue overlooking the harbor, the kind that cost more than I ever admitted aloud, the kind she could only afford because I paid the deposit and covered the last-minute florist panic. She floated through the room like gravity didn't apply to her. I watched her glide between guests, her arm looped through Owen's, her smile perfected. Every time she passed, someone whispered about how elegant she looked. No one mentioned who funded half the elegance. A server brushed by. "Ma'am, take a plate," he said. I reached. My shoe slid over something slick. The next moment my body twisted wrong. My hips slammed hard and a dull, brutal sound shot through me before the pain even arrived. The floor rushed up. My breath shattered into a broken gasp. I looked up, dazed, and the room paused. Chairs scraping, voices catching. Rowan turned. Her eyes met mine, clear, direct, recognizing. For one heartbeat, she saw me. Then she didn't move. "Rowan," I croaked, my throat tight with shock and champagne-sweet air. Her lips parted. Something flickered across her face. Hesitation, discomfort, calculation. Then she turned away as if I'd never made a sound at all. "We still need the family shots," she said, voice steady, already stepping back into position for the photographer. A few guests glanced at me, sprawled on the floor, and then looked away, suddenly fascinated by their glasses, the view, the hems of their dresses. It was a strange kind of invisibility, being seen and dismissed in the same breath. My hands shook harder from that than from the fall. A soft voice came from behind me. "Aunt Iria, hold on." Mara, my cousin, distant in relation but the closest thing to compassion in that room, crouched beside me and slid an arm under mine. Her perfume was light, familiar, and suddenly it made my eyes sting. "Did anyone call Rowan?" she whispered. "I'm fine," I lied, swallowing the sharp ache that spread from my hip into my spine like a warning flare. Mara's jaw tightened. She helped me sit up, then slowly to my feet. The moment I stood, the room resumed its noise, like my pain had been an inconvenient pause in their entertainment. Across the floor, Rowan was already posing again, head tilted just right, laughing like nothing had happened. Owen's hand rested on her waist like a claim. I pulled my phone out with trembling fingers and dialed her. Rowan looked at the screen, expression flat, and pressed the button to end the call. Mara steadied me when my knees wobbled. The band swelled back into song. Glasses clinked. Someone cheered. And inside me, something small and quiet cracked. The kind of crack that doesn't heal the same once it starts. That night, after the reception, my house felt too silent, as if it was holding its breath with me. I moved slowly, one hand pressed to my bruised hip, the other reaching for counters and chair backs like they could keep me upright. Every step reminded me of hitting the floor, but the ache in my chest was sharper than anything in my bones. I sat at the kitchen table and waited for my phone to light up. It didn't. At 9, the screen finally buzzed. For half a second, hope rose in me like reflex, like muscle memory. Then I saw it wasn't a call or a text. It was a social media notification. Rowan had posted a carousel of photos, her dress swirling, Owen dipping her toward the camera, champagne bursting like fireworks. The caption read, "Best day of my life." Comments poured in instantly. "You look radiant, perfect couple. Your mom must be so proud. Such a perfect family moment." I stared at those words until they blurred. Rowan hadn't tagged me. There wasn't a single photo of us together, not even a mention, not even a polite little line that said, "Couldn't have done it without my mother." I was still staring when my neighbor, June, knocked lightly on the back door and stepped inside like she always did. "You home, Uriah?" she called. "Mara told me you took a fall." "I'm fine," I said again, because I'd always been good at saying that. June studied me, eyes narrowing with concern. "Rowan didn't check on you?" I shook my head. Even that small motion hurt. "She'll call," June said gently. "She just got swept up in wedding things." I didn't answer. I picked up my phone again, and that's when the second notification appeared. A bank alert, emergency credit card. Transaction approved, luxury decor rental, $980. Timestamp, the night before her wedding. June saw my face change. "What happened?" I handed her the phone. She exhaled slowly. "She knew you were covering half the costs already." I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. "I don't want to talk about it." Rowan posted 3 more bright, polished photo sets before midnight. Still no message, no missed call, no, "Are you okay, Mom?" By the time I turned off the lights, the silence had changed. It no longer felt like waiting. It felt like understanding. 2 days passed before I heard Rowan's voice again. Late morning, I eased myself into the porch chair, moving like my body belonged to someone older than I felt. The winter sun was bright but thin. I just settled when footsteps hit the steps too fast, too practiced. "Mom," Rowan said, breath quick, expression rehearsed. "How are you? After everything." "Everything," I repeated softly. "That's one way to put it." She gave a laugh that sounded too bright for the air between us. "Weddings are just busy, chaotic." Her eyes flicked down the driveway. Owen sat in the car with the engine running, sunglasses on, tapping the steering wheel like he had somewhere better to be. "He's not coming in?" I asked. "He's just waiting," she said. "We won't be long." Then she stepped closer, lowering her voice as if she were delivering tragedy instead of inconvenience. "You didn't get hurt too badly, right?" I stared at her until the space between us started to feel crowded. "You saw me fall, Rowan." She flinched. "I didn't really see. The lights were weird. You were walking too fast. You know how slippery those floors are." "Slippery enough for me to hit the ground," I said. "Not slippery enough to stop you from taking photos." Her jaw tightened, irritation pushing at the edges of her composure. "Mom, I don't want to get into this." Then, like she'd hit her cue, she shifted. "We came because we need to talk to you about something important." "We," I echoed, glancing toward the idling car. "Owen and I," she said quickly. "The wedding ended up costing way more than we expected. A few vendors charged extra. Some deposits didn't go through. It's a mess." "I see." She drew in a practiced sigh. "So, we were hoping you could help us. Just a temporary loan. Nothing huge. We'll pay you back once everything stabilizes." I let her words hang there. I watched her face, hopeful, demanding, certain. She didn't look ashamed. She looked entitled. She shifted, impatience creeping in. "You helped with college," she added, "and the wedding deposit. And you've always supported me. This wouldn't be any different." This would be very different, I said. Rowan folded her arms. Mom, we're newlyweds. We need this. She leaned in, eyes sharpening. It's not like I'm asking for $200,000, just enough to get us through. Behind her, Owen revved the engine, the sound cutting through the porch like a warning. Rowan stepped closer, voice tightening. So can you do it? Can you help us? The wind moved through the porch railings, the only gentle thing in that moment. Come inside, I said quietly. If you're here for something, we should talk at the table. Relief loosened her shoulders, but her eyes never softened. She walked past me into my kitchen like she already owned the air inside it. She sat down before I did and folded her hands neatly, like she was about to negotiate a deal. Mom, she began, sweetening her tone, I need you to really hear me. Owen and I are under so much pressure. You don't want us starting our marriage stress, do you? Her sweetness scraped like sandpaper. I took the seat across from her. Rowan, I said, you're not being honest about what happened at the wedding. She waved her hand, dismissing me like a minor complaint. Can we not go over that again? It was a big night. Everyone was looking at us. She tilted her head, then said it. Casual, cruel. You falling kind of ruined the vibe, but I'm trying not to dwell on it. For a second I couldn't speak. The audacity sat between us like smoke, and she wasn't done. And honestly, Rowan added, everyone else's parents contributed more than you did. Owen's parents covered nearly everything for his sister's wedding. It's pretty normal. I paid your tuition, I reminded her, every semester, and your therapy bills for 3 years, and the wedding deposit. She laughed softly. Well, yeah, that's what parents do. Then she leaned forward, voice turning sharper. Besides, you raised me, and that wasn't easy. You owe me for sticking through all that. Something clicked into place so cleanly it felt like a lock turning. This wasn't a bad week, this was a pattern. Rowan's eyes stayed steady, confident, like she was certain the universe would keep rewarding her. Honestly, Mom, she said, voice firming into entitlement, it's your job to help. I shouldn't have to beg for something that benefits the family. We are your family. My fingers curled around the edge of the table. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just watched her, watched the way she waited for my surrender like it was a guaranteed outcome. I see, I said. She leaned back with a sigh of relief, mistaking my words for agreement. A smile appeared, small, satisfied. So, she said, how much can you give us? The room held still. I reached for the old leather purse hanging from the back of the chair and set it gently between us. Rowan's gaze snapped to it. A smirk tugged at her mouth. Thank you, she said, already victorious. I knew you'd come around. I didn't say I came around, I replied. She ignored that. Her hand slipped under the flap with the confidence of someone reaching for a reward. You always keep checks in here, she said, or cash. This will help a lot. She searched. The smirk stayed for 3 slow seconds, then wavered. What? Her voice thinned. Where is it? In the purse, I said. Keep looking. She reached deeper and pulled out a single cream-colored envelope, sealed, her name written in my careful handwriting across the front. Mom, she snapped, irritation rising. What is this supposed to be? Open it. She didn't. Her fingers tightened around the paper. I asked for money, not whatever this is. I know what you asked for, I said. Open it. Her jaw clenched. She slid her thumb beneath the seal, hesitated, then finally tore it open. The paper inside rustled louder than it should have, as if the house itself leaned in. She unfolded the letter slowly. Her eyes hit the first lines and froze. Mom, what is this? Read it, I said. Her lips moved, voice catching on the words. Rowan, 2 days ago, I fell. I did not fall quietly. I called your name the moment my body hit the floor. You looked at me, and then you turned away. She blinked hard. You're exaggerating. No, I said. I'm remembering. Her eyes dropped again. She read faster, like speed could soften what was written. This was not the first time you stepped over my pain. I paid your therapy bills when you said you couldn't manage your emotions. I covered your semesters when you failed classes and blamed me. I paid the wedding deposit when you cried about canceling the venue. I did it quietly, because I loved you. Her shoulders tightened. Why are you writing it like an accusation? It's a history, I said. She kept reading, anger creeping into her breathing. You spent the emergency trust your father and I set aside for you. All of it. You told me it was untouched. It was gone a year ago. Her head snapped up. You checked my trust. That's invasive. I checked the truth, I said. Her eyes dropped again, and then she hit the final lines. Her face drained as if the blood decided it didn't want to stay. As of last week, you are no longer included in my estate. This is not punishment. It is protection. I will not leave my life's work in the hands of someone who walks away when I am on the ground. Rowan's breath hitched. She looked back into the purse as if it might offer her a different ending. Inside, beside the empty envelope, lay a certified copy of the new trust documents, stamped and notarized. Beneath it, a printed photo someone had sent me. Rowan turning away while I lay on the floor. Rowan snatched it up. Who took this? Her phone buzzed. She glanced down. A text from Owen. Get the money or don't come back embarrassed. Rowan's hands trembled. Humiliation flared across her face. Not grief, not regret, just shock that the usual currency had run out. I folded my hands on the table, steady, calm, and I waited to see what she would do now that love was no longer something she could spend.